Evening. How's it going? All right, just getting settled. As it so happens, the connection to Skyrim is probably one of the first things I want to briefly talk about here, because the feel of the game is so very, very, very Skyrim. But the actual, like, the plot structure, the themes, and the story are actually pretty significantly different. So I think that might wind up being a good way of kind of transitioning us into talking about this game. Is a good way to. It would be kind of bouncing it off of Skyrim as a point of comparison. Also, I recorded a couple of videos today that'll be out in the next few weeks. They're very slow on the way down the pipeline, so that'll be very gradually coming in. Don't expect them too soon. They're going to be in between some of the reading group videos. They will be coming. I'll probably mention them. Probably talk about it a little bit. Both are a bit controversial from a philosophical standpoint. Not really controversial from like political controversy kind of stuff. I don't have. I have things to say about that, but they're not unique to me, and I would be wasting your time and my time if I were to actually, talk about them in terms of making a video about it. Nothing I haven't talked about before anyway. All right, so let's jump back into the game, see where we're at. We just, last time, finished our rescue operation of Sean something or other. Sean, Mr. Irishman. Then wandered off a little bit. We rescued Micah, we rescued Sean. We actually did a lot of rescuing last week, as it happens. If things go according to plan, this week we're going to be doing some crime. Should be fun. Looking at thinking back to the actual story of the thing, how the story goes. Looks like we're probably going to have a train robbery and or a bank robbery and or a stagecoach robbery. Don't know which of those we'll do, but they're all coming up pretty shortly. So those might all three hit tonight, so that'd be neat. So entirely possible. We'll see where we wind up going and what we wind up doing, what takes how long, and all of that sort of thing. But yeah, we'll see. We might actually we might wind up robbing damn near everyone in this part of the continent by the time the night's over. So we'll see. I still have the sound mixing and everything set for Mass Effect from last night. So if anything is off, if anything's too loud, too quiet, Kevin, good question. I don't know if there is one, but I can try. In any case, I'll give it a shot. If anything's too loud, too quiet, just let me know. Where's my horse? There's my horse. So, alright. A good, philosophical, presumably ethical basis for a life of crime. That is a tough one. In part because I don't know if it's possible. In fact, I would go so far as to say it's probably not possible. You probably can't give a robust defense from an ethical standpoint. A robust defense, I'll come back to doing that. of an actual life of crime, as long as you define carefully what crime means, which that's an interesting one. But if we mean the kinds of things that I plan on doing here tonight, like, robbing a stagecoach, blowing up and then robbing a train, those sorts of things, then yeah, absolutely not. That's I would say that is straightforwardly unjustifiable. There isn't much you can do to justify that sort of thing. That said, there's nuance. And some of the nuances where things always get a little bit more interesting. So, first, to sort of dive into it, crime. What does it mean for something to be a crime? That looks delicious. Oh, man. Oh, no. Come back here. Emma. Damn. I could track him, but I'm not gonna. Damn, that's disappointing. Alright, oh well. That was worth a try. Those look delicious. So, like I said, save. It comes a lot down to what qualifies as a crime. Oh, everyone's dying. Oh, literally. Okay, I was joking. Can I help?
I need help over here.
Watch where you're going.
Come on, don't just stand there. Come on, give me a hand with it. Get this off me.
Alright, here we go. Well, that was quite the timing. Okay.
All right. We've done all we can for you. You come back for your money at the end of the week. I can't pay you full for today, of course.
Oh my gosh.
The rest of you, stop gawking. Get back to work. Come on!
I mean...
Hey, you there. Thanks for the help.
Welcome.
Hey, mister.
I can't believe it.
Hello. Have a nice evening.
Alright, how about Mr. Broken Leg Guy?
Thank you for your help, mister. I don't know what I'm gonna do now.
You can afford $5, yeah.
That foreman's a real bastard, ain't he? Here, we should help you get back on your feet. Thanks, mister. You're a good man.
I think that is the first time someone maybe ever told Arthur he was a good man.
Yep.
And at this point in the story, that's probably not true. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, I'm not going to run the guy over. I'm going to be careful not to do that. Yeah, I want to, at some point, maybe when the rain stops, I want to stop and do some cooking as well, because I need food. But for now, I'm going to head towards Valentine. But yeah, so, back to Kevin's, I'd call it a question, but it's probably, like, to be more realistic, is that's a challenge. And it's a tough one. If I were to give a defense of crime, like I said, the first thing you need to do is define exactly what you mean. How about... Hey, stop shooting me. Oh, that's very bad. Hold on. Oh no. Oh no. I'm just gonna leave him.
Get me off this horse!
Okay. Oh.
Quick! Get me free!
Okay, working on it.
Are you really gonna leave me tied up like this?
No, ma'am. Calm down.
Thank the Lord you showed up when you did. Oh, the things he said he'd do to me.
It's all right, ma'am. It's over now.
Thank you. Again.
All right. Well, seal his horse.
Come on, girl. Nice folks round here.
Now, kidnapper guy. Nah, he'll be fine. Anyway, moving on. So, crime. Kidnapping is a fantastic example of what would invariably qualify as a crime. Right? So there are a few distinctions in sort of philosophy of law and legal theory that are worth talking about here. The first and most obvious is the distinction between what's called malum in se and malum prohibitum. That is, that which is bad because it is wrong, and that which is bad because it is prohibited, and merely because it is prohibited. This is the distinction between law and ethics, basically. Now, there can be perfectly well be overlap between the two. There can be things which are both malum prohibitum and malum in se, right? These are, called just laws for the most part. Might be exceptions to that. We'll come back to it. But for the most part, this is when the law prohibits what is already unjust, right? So in this case, something would be bad in its own right, malum in se, but then also bad because it's prohibited, or malum prohibitum. I'm not gonna... You know what? Screw it. Let's go talk to... since we're here.
Oh, Mr. Downs!
Let's do this.
Downs! Where are you? Thomas Downs!
Maybe he's in the house. Let's go and see.
Downs! Downs! Where are you?
Back to... Nope. Okay. He locked his door. Who'd have thought?
You, whatever do you want?
Mr. Thomas Downs? You owe me money.
Oh, no, I'm...
Oh, come here, you maggot.
Please, sir. I'll...
Really? Certainly, would you?
Please, I have a family, sir, please.
I don't care about your family. Why'd it have to come to this, huh?
Believe me, sir, I didn't want this either.
Interesting that I can't make other choices.
I'm
I wonder if that's relevant.
I'm working as hard as I can.
You ain't such a do-gooder, are you? If you're running out on debts...
I'm not running anywhere. I'm doing my best for you.
You are a slippery little bastard. But I got you now.
Please, show some compassion. Please.
Strauss told me you needed a beating. You saying he was right?
What will that solve?
How's that dead looking now? We took your word. Now we'll take your hide. Pay the money, you'll make this stop.
Please, no.
You borrowed money from my business partner, Herr Strauss. You owe him, you took the money. He wants it back, what's not to understand? Where's our money?
I don't have it.
Sell your place.
We already owe more than it's worth.
Then sell your wife, or your family, or something. We ain't your idea of charity. Is that clear?
Thomas!
What are you looking at?
Thomas!
I said what you looking at, woman.
My husband isn't well. If we could just have more...
Like I said, we ain't nobody's idea of charity. Get us the money.
So that's rather plot important. Let's remember that scene pretty well. Oh, I'm back at camp. Okay, that'll work. So, we still have this difference, right, between malum in se and malum in prohibitum. Couple of relevant aspects to this. There are certain things which are malum in se, but are not prohibited by law. Right? Certain things that are wrong, but the law does not prohibit. Right? We can all think of plenty of examples of this. For example, if we want to talk about, say, adultery, right? Adultery is wrong, but not illegal. So there are certainly things that are one but not the other. You can also go the other way. There are things that are malum prohibitum, but are not malum in se, right? Regulatory laws, all sorts of, actually, most laws on the books are only prohibited. They are not in themselves wrong.
How did you get on?
Not so good. He's almost dead. And they seem more or less destitute. You were a fool for lending them the money.
Well, people who aren't desperate don't seem so interested in my propositions.
Of course.
All right. But yeah, you can have plenty of things which are prohibited but not wrong in themselves. A lot of things, like most of the laws on the books, are, if they are wrong, they're only wrong because they are prohibited. They are not wrong in and of themselves. What was that? Something. Hey,
Mr. Morgan?
Jose and Bessie. Oh. 1883. 17 years ago. 16 years ago. Whatever. But yeah, there are plenty of things that are malum prohibitum, but not malum in se, things that aren't wrong in and of themselves. So these things, if that's what you mean by a life of crime, then, well, that's not necessarily wrong. That can be justifiable. If something is not intrinsically wrong, even if it is wrong under some circumstances, right, due to the circumstances of society and the circumstances of what it would do to others, etc., right? It could be wrong due to the circumstance, possibly. That's another complex question, but setting that aside, there could be perfectly legitimate situations in which crimes, if we mean simply illegal activities, could perfectly well be justifiable. There could be perfectly coherent circumstances in which that's totally fine from an ethical standpoint. The clearest example of this is if the law is unjust, is explicitly unjust. If it commands something that is unethical, or if it prohibits something that is a moral obligation, then under those circumstances, breaking the law would not just be morally okay, it would be morally required. Okay. That's probably not what we were talking about, though. It's probably not what we meant by a life of crime. Although maybe. There's certainly an element to that to it. So, in other words, under these circumstances, as long as you avoid that which is malum in se, and avoid doing something wrong for its own sake, for the sake of its wrongness, like breaking the law because it's the law and you want to break it, that sort of thing, right? Then illegal actions under those circumstances could perfectly well be justified. Alright, I'm going to do something illegal and maybe justified. Let's see. I'm going to hitch my horse, which is not illegal. Please don't do this. Alright, there we go. Come on. Are you gonna... Alright, I'm just gonna get off. No. Now I'll hitch. Alright, fine. And I'm gonna get a repeater and a shotgun. Take him off the horse. And I'm gonna go do some crime. Let me make sure my guns are polished enough. Oh god, that's awful. That one's rough. Alright. Yeah, so... so there also is another question to address. Of those things which are malum in se, we have the further question of what can justly be prohibited by the law. And that does not include simply everything. Oh, what's going on here?
You keep this up, no one's gonna bet either.
Think I'll have another drink and then go see your wife.
Ooh. Yeah, so speaking of adultery, which is,
So that's what you do, huh? Sleep with another man's woman.
certainly malum in
Made
se.
a fool of.
Okay. Bye.
Hey there, mister.
Alright, anyway. Certainly... Oh, God. Such a short attention span. I'm gonna assume it's drunk. He's drunk and it's not just the, not just the poor game engine. Alright, this the doctor. Where's the doctor? Well, nothing sketchy tonight. Okay. I'm gonna go rob the shop's side business. Or try and get in here. Nope, can't do that. Oh, okay, I can't get through that. Oh my gosh, this is convoluted. Anyway, so here's some of that robbery stuff. Now, if we want to be more precise about what constitutes a crime, then we can do so, because not everything which is malum prohibitum, or even everything that's malum in se, right? Neither of these things are necessarily crimes. Oh, well, fine, I'll just wait out here with my mask on.
Oh, well, what are you putting?
I guess I'll rob them in broad daylight. That's fine. Nothing abnormal about that. But I'll take a look at what would constitute a crime and what wouldn't.
Listen, I don't treat folks who cover up their
Yeah, you do.
Let me into that back room of yours right now.
Sir, please, you don't want to get involved with them, I promise you.
I sure do.
Make them open up, or you're a dead man.
Hey, open up. It's me. I brought some food and whiskey for you fellers.
Yeah, it's only the doc.
Oh, that sounds O'Driscoll-y.
Anything funny.
Put it on the table. You can see we're in the middle of some business here.
Looks like a nice little bit. She got going back here. Shit!
Shit!
Oh, God. Please, don't kill me.
I ain't gonna hurt you. Just stay out of my way and you'll be fine.
You pulled a gun on me. Nice try there. Alright, money. They're investigating, so I have a couple of minutes. So, potentially justified over here was, all of this was robbed and stolen.
Shit. The move.
O'Driscoll's. Alright, so, you know, the usual... I'm not going to do that. The usual antagonists to Dutch and the gang, yada yada yada. Weapon case, here we go. Is this not just not going to let me do anything here? What is going on? What did I just... That was my gun. Okay, this is getting ridiculous. I'm probably going to have to reset at some point. There are two of the same gun down by my feet. This is getting ridiculous. See if it lets me. That was it. I'm gonna have to reset. I'm very sorry, guys. I'm gonna have to reload at some point. Yep. Darn. Okay, well, we're gonna go do that again. We're gonna rob the back room full of O'Driscolls and their robbery and nefarious scheme. Anyway, that'll give me some more time to talk about crime. What constitutes crime and what parts of crime, and if there are parts of crime that are ethically justifiable. So, crime, if we want to define it very, very, very carefully, part of that definition is going to, well, there are multiple definitions available. Let's put it that way. The most obvious is whatever is malum prohibitum, whatever is prohibited by law, we think of as criminal, right? So we think of criminals as lawbreakers, and that's about all there is to it, right? So, if that is all there is to it, or if that is most of what there is to it, yeah, I know, I didn't mean to have that. All right. Yeah, so, if by crime all we mean is that which is malum prohibitum, right? That which is prohibited by law, if that's all we mean by crime, that's not all that useful, right? Because there certainly are circumstances in which things which are prohibited by law are justifiable, like we were talking about. On the other hand, if by crime...
Hold up! I'm not about to sell to you with...
I know that. Anyway, let's
Let
go
me
back
into
to
that
this.
back room of yours right now.
Sir, please. You don't want to get involved with them, I promise
So,
you.
as I was saying, I'll kind of talk over this part just a bit, because we already saw all this. Part of what I wanted to point out, right, is that there are a lot of cases where there are perfectly justifiable... just do it. Please. Don't do this again.
Hey, open up. It's
All
me.
right, come on.
I brought some food and whiskey for you fellers.
Gosh, this is
Yeah,
absurd.
it's only the doc.
And the mysterious stranger standing
Don't
behind
try
him.
anything funny.
Put it on the table. You can see we're in the middle of some business here.
Looks like a nice little business you got going back here.
Shit!
Ah,
Oh, God. Please, don't kill me.
Okay.
I ain't gonna hurt you. Just stay out of my way and you'll be fine.
I'm watching
Please.
you.
I ain't with them. They picked me up in the saloon.
We know you're in there. Come out now. Shit. Dumb move. Come out with your hands up.
I saw that gun. Is it not gonna let
You
me?
ain't killing me, you son of a bitch.
Okay. Anyway, so that all worked. Here we go. Oh, are you kidding me? All right. Well, this is apparently a game-breaking bug because I can't. Okay, or just give it a few minutes. Okay, there we go. Jesus. All right, there we go. Nice gun. I'm gonna use split point. Better gun. Better rounds. That's so slow to reload. I hate it, but okay. It gets better. I promise. Anyway, in the process of doing some certainly illegal activity, to say the least, if not crime per se, but we can talk about that as well if we want to take this as a maybe a hard case, because it is a bit of a hard case because there's issues of robbing from criminals and what constitutes robbery in that case and what constitutes theft and okay, hey, oh my god, okay, stop. Okay, that was silly. That's not what I meant. Alright, that was interesting. Okay, oh gosh. Alright. Anyway, let's let that happen. No one else seems to be coming in, so it's not a big problem. What about that chest? Can I have it? Can I have the chest? Can I have the chest? Alright, well this is the glitchiest I've ever had this game be at the moment. This is kind of silly. Alright, so let's see if I can I go out this way? I can't. I have to shoot my way out. Darn. Oh, I didn't pick up the repeater. Oh, jeez. There, let's do that. Alright, well that's fine. I got a cool gun out of it. Alright. Let's get the hell out. I do have a bounty. Who'd they see? Who saw me? Alright, whatever. Anyway, so in the hopes that this calms down a little bit, There is a distinction we can make, right, between crime and other sort of legally prohibited actions. Right, these are different things. In the one case, we can even distinguish crime between crime that is legally prohibited or not, and then also things which are malum in se, things that are wrong in and of themselves. Because not everything which is wrong in and of itself is even a crime, strictly speaking. Right? A crime, again, strictly speaking, is an infringement. Right? It is what you would call a... if you're being very... if you're being very libertarian about it, I guess, or very Rothbardian or whatever, something like a rights violation or a violation of, let's take that off, let's go visit this homestead, a violation of another's person or property, right? So, an infringement upon someone else. Right, so crimes, in this sense, require a victim. This is why we hear the otherwise maybe trite slogan about victimless crimes, right? Do I have... Yeah, I do. I sure have a bounty. Let's go to... Where can I pay that off? Pay it off at Emerald Station. Or... Can I pay it back at Strawberry? No, I don't think I can. Yeah, let's go to Emerald Station. Emerald Branch. That'll work. I'd rather not wander around with a bounty any longer than I need to. Oh, lawman. Let's maybe avoid him a little bit.
You stupid piece of
Ah,
trash.
damn it. Okay, well, let's go faster.
Don't you move a damn muscle. Stop moving again. See how fast I drop you. Move it hell.
Okay. I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna go. So, again, there are, there are differences between,
Sorry, girl.
so I was talking about vaguely what we would call a victimless crime, if we can call something a victimless crime. And strictly speaking, this is why I wanted to make this distinction. Strictly speaking, if we're talking about crimes, which are a certain segment of actions which are malum in se, and usually also malum prohibitum, they're also usually prohibited by law. Typically in, modern civilized societies, at least. In that case, right, crimes are those wrongful activities which harm someone directly. There is what we would call assignable harm, right? Your actions lead directly to harm done to another individual. That harm is assignable, meaning you can say who did the harm and who was harmed, and in what way, and it needs to be, at least in some sense, quantifiable. Right? Because you can indicate exactly what the harm is in order for it to qualify as a crime. So if that is what you mean by a life of crime, well, hold on, actually, sorry. I was about to say then no, it can't be justified, but hold on, I have to make one more distinction, right? Because crime in this case, I've been talking about assignable harm to another person. For something to be a crime, the harm has to not only be immediate, direct, assignable, etc., it also needs to be unjustified. Right? It needs to be an act of aggression. It needs to be an unprovoked, not exactly unprovoked, but a non-retributory, non-recompensatory sort of action, which harms someone else without any kind of justification to it. Okay. So in this case, it is pretty clearly unjustifiable, right? It's kind of baked into the definition, like murder is defined as unjustified homicide, right? Crime is justified as is defined as, at least in part, unjustified or aggressive harm. Harm done to someone who has not done harm to you, or harm that is disproportionate to the harm that is done to you, right? That sort of thing. Harm that isn't in recompense for harm done. Now, there might be issues with this definition, right? So especially things that, like we discussed when we were playing Red Dead last week, right? Issues about the nature of retributory versus restitutionary justice. Right? So returning harm for harm may also be still be unjust. It may still be unjustifiable. And in that case, there are some non-crimes which, legally and ethically speaking, function as crimes. Right?
See you later.
Or something akin to crimes. Alright, I'm going to go back to Valentine. I'm going to buy some guns. Actually, first, you know what? I'm going to set up camp because I'm going to cook while I talk about this. So, like I said, there are some crimes, or there are some non-crime actions. There are some affronts to other people, harms to other people, which are not technically crimes if we think of them as only being aggressive actions which harm another person who has not harmed us. If, as I kind of indicated last week, there are these problems with retributory justice, then there are non-crimes which, legally speaking, we would say they ought to be treated like they are crimes. Right. Or, if you read other people on this subject, they would say that those actions are crimes, right? Retribution, in this case, would qualify as criminal. Now, there's a discrepancy there, and there's probably an argument to be had either way. The simpler way of stating it is the latter, is by saying that, well, if it is an unjustified harm to another person, even if it is in retribution to harm that you have suffered, then it is, in that sense, still a crime. Now, that is contested. That's pretty highly contested. So, one way or the other, right? Either way you can take that, it shakes out a little bit differently one way or the other. Now, if we want to talk about crimes crimes as unjustifiable aggressive harm, let's put it that way, right? Unjustifiable aggressive harm. Harm done to another person who has not done harm to you, or just generally unjustified harm to another person, property, etc.
Come on, girl.
In that case, then we shouldn't, under any circumstances, be able to say that harm is, in that sense, justified, right? Or sorry, not harm. Harm can be in terms of defensive harm or possibly retributory, etc. Right? That might be. But crime, in that case, a life of crime. If by crime you mean aggressive harm against other people who have not aggressed against you, in that case, then you cannot really present a justification for that. Better cinematic view. There we go. Going a little faster. So in that case, no, there would be no justification for a life of crime. If by crime we mean aggressive violence against innocent parties, right, or parties who have not harmed you. Now, oh, what?
Easy.
Are you? Where? I don't see you. Is she in the tree? Oh no.
Mister! Please! Please help! Please!
Okay.
Yes! Yes! Just lift as hard as you can. Oh, thank you. Thank you. You saved me. Oh, that was bad.
Sure.
I could have been stuck here and starved or eaten. Oh, you poor, dumb animal. Oh. What'll I tell Mildred? Well...
You need a ride home, ma'am?
Oh, yes, mister, please. Thank you. Do you know Valentine? I live there.
I was
No
just
problem.
heading that way. Perfect. All right. Fantastic. So yeah, that'll do. That'll do quite nicely.
Yeah, girl.
Ma'am?
Yeah.
Alright. So, anyway, I don't know if they're going to have any dialogue on the way there or not. If they are, I'll probably shut up and let them talk. But if they're not, so long as they're not talking, I'll go on. So the question now, to go back to what Kevin says. So Kevin
I don't normally
asks...
travel this far
I'll wait.
alone, you know.
That
I was
wasn't a
off
lot to wait for.
inquiring about a possible new line of work. I'd borrowed a friend's horse for the trip. See, my husband... Well, it's just me and my boy now, and it's hard to find work.
I'm sure it is.
A good opportunity. That's what I'm looking for. Not much work for a woman with a boy to raise. I won't work in no saloon, but I've got sharp eyes and quick hands. I was hoping to get a job working as a seamstress. A wealthy man said he'd pay me for the work.
Sounds promising. Also doesn't sound real.
Oh, you may be right, I suppose. He said he'd provide room and board for me and for my child. He wanted to meet me first.
I'd be careful with offers like that, ma'am.
I can't afford to dismiss offers like these, even if they do seem... odd.
Just be careful is all I'm saying.
I may not have another opportunity like this. And now I'll have to pay Mildred back for her horse.
It sure sounds like you're in a hard position.
You finding me is the only good thing that's happened to me in a long while, sir.
All right. So I think that's about all she's got to say. Unfortunate. Awful. So, to answer, or to possibly answer, Kev's question.
We're close now. Just a little further.
So to give a philosophical justification or a philosophical basis for a life of crime, it really depends on what you define as crime. And if we're defining crime the way we have, right, as to include everything and only that which is which causes an assignable harm, unjustified assignable harm to an innocent party. If that's the case, if that's what we're defining as crime, then you can't have a justification for it.
We're
Right?
here. Thank you for all your help.
That is pretty intrinsically
man.
unjustified.
Glad I was able to help. You take care.
However,
Appreciate it.
the question then will wind up arising: is what Arthur and frankly what Dutch and the gang are doing, to what extent is that a life of crime? What of all that they're doing is criminal, and what isn't? Now, a lot of it obviously is, right? What have we done so far that was obviously criminal?
Hello there.
Oh yeah, I have to get off my horse. It's actually hard to say for sure what exactly that we've done has been criminal in this sense. I'm actually almost coming up short. If any of you guys have ideas as to what Arthur and gang have done, which was explicitly criminal, Oh, well, okay, hold on. I actually had a thought. Last week, Micah. Everything to do with Micah has basically been criminal. So, okay, fine. There we go. Everything involving Micah, that's been obviously criminal. Particularly that he went out of his way to presumably kill the guy who had his pistols. Now, recovering stolen property, maybe you can justify that. Maybe you can say, well, they were his guns and he had a right to take them back, but it did certainly seem like he went out of his way to specifically kill the guy and his family.
Well, it's really the catalog you want to look at. It's got everything in here.
Alright, so let's take a look at guns. How much money we got? I don't need a revolver. I got a nice revolver. What do we have for pistols? Boring. I can't buy the Mauser yet. I have carbine repeater. Lancaster's nice, but I can't buy it yet. Litchfield's nice, can't buy it yet. I do need a varmint rifle, so I'm gonna buy it. Okay, cool.
Carry it with pride.
Gonna need that. Let's upgrade the crap out of it.
I bet this will shoot better with some new sights.
Oh man, this is a lot of money. Maybe I shouldn't do this all right now. Yeah, well, we'll see. I'll see what I can do. It's only $450. I can afford it. Oh wait, I need a scope.
You know what? I bet I can make this piece work a lot better for you. Bolts, triggers, parts.
Right, that's
back
good for
here.
now.
You'll love it. I'd recommend loading up on extra ammo.
Full up. And good for now. I do need a good long rifle while I'm at it. I want a rolling block. That's one of my favorites. Carcano is probably the best. But for now, I will... Oop, what have I done? There we go. For now, I will settle for the Springfield. Yeah, I'll settle for the Springfield. $108, that's a lot, but I'll take it. Most of the other weapons I will find along the way, but I definitely need
We can do a lot with this. New trigger, brand new bolt, your pick.
Rifle. A nice long rifle. Scoop. Medium.
Fine piece.
I'm really close to money here.
I bet I can make this piece work a lot better for you. Bolts, triggers, parts, back here. Smile on your face, guaranteed. It doesn't hurt to stock up on ammo. You never know.
Basically out of money, but it's okay. That's fine. Got it. Got what I need. Can I afford? No, I can't afford those, but I can afford some gun oil.
Good, good.
Right, that's all we got. Cool. I'm almost out of money, but perfect. Got exactly what I came for.
Anything else?
Nope, that's it. All right, cool. So, there's what I got.
Oh, wait. You're that fellow who had to fight with Tommy outside of Smithfield's?
Yes.
Yep.
People are still talking about that fight.
I ain't.
Fair enough. Neither's Tommy. Anyway, how can I help you today?
Okay. Nothing. No, you already did. Anyway. So we have the question of what they have done is unqualifiedly and certainly criminal. And what actions that they have taken are definitely crimes. Let's get back on waffles. Throughout, there are certainly things that are crimes. But we can take a maybe a hard case. Right? We can look at. Oops, I don't actually want the pistol out. Nope. No, you're right. I'm not. No go. Anyway. Yeah, so, in any case, the, need to make some split point rifle ammo. I'll get to that. I'll do it right over here. lot of these. Alright, everyone, I hope you enjoy watching a horse's abdomen while I talk about crime. So, a tough case would be what we just did, right? So what we just did was what we basically robbed a place, but it was a criminal enterprise. So the question then arises, well, was what they were doing sufficient justification for retribution? And let's, for the moment, assume that Arthur knew about it. You can take the assumption off of, looking inside the back room or whatever, even though looking inside the back room, we saw nothing of significance. Let's assume Arthur knew about it for now. If that is the case, if Arthur knew what he was doing, knew what they were doing, and it was, a series of robberies and money laundering, extortions, everything that the O'Driscolls like doing, then, we can maybe say that there is a kind of, there is a justification for stopping them from doing so. Now, a further question arises. Could you have stopped them with less than lethal force? And was it your responsibility to do so, or were you usurping responsibility that was not your own? Let's talk to Hosea. Let's go over there. Stagecoach. Now this part is the criminal part of crime that is not justifiable. We'll get to that. But in this case, if we can say that, well, okay, fine, Arthur knew about it. He knew what was going on, and he decided to put a stop to it, also with some profit for himself, right? If nothing else, he got the shiny new revolver. Schofield revolver, which, incidentally, one of the better ones in the game. One of the better revolvers available. So yeah, in that case, even if we might say part of the motive was a selfish one. What are you doing? What the hell? Okay, I'm gonna just rope you. Oh, you're an O'Driscoll.
Shit! Damn it! Be a man about this.
Hey, whoa, hold on. Oh, crap. Alright, fine, whatever. I'm gonna go threaten the witness.
Very kind of you.
Damn it. He's a bad guy, damn it.
You'll be alright. Yep.
Alright, okay, where is he going? Is he really going to the refinery? Why would he be going to... Oh, because he's got a barrel of oil, doesn't he?
Stop, or I'll kill you, I swear. You're a bad shot.
Yes, with a rifle. What the hell? Okay.
Dear Lord. At least you ain't dead yet. What the hell? Cut me loose, damn it! You're a bad... Run along, then.
Okay, bye. He said to leave, so I'm gonna leave.
Idiot.
Okay, everything's fine. Everything's fine. We're moving on. Everything's okay. No problems. None of that. None of that. Alright, so let's just take that weird little scenario, because the O'Driscolls one is a little complicated, and we'll come back to it, but let's just take that weird little scenario that we just had happen. O'Driscoll shows up. Let's assume that shooting him was... we didn't even shoot him. We just hogtied him, because, he's a criminal, and he was out to go do criminal things, so we stopped him with minimal necessary force. pretty straightforwardly justified, honestly. There isn't much about that was really, bad. Shoot. Yeah. Ah, are you kidding me? Well, I got it. That's fine. So yeah, that was pretty sufficiently justified. Nothing really wrong or evil about it. An owl. Nah, what time is it? That's weird. Okay. So yeah, nothing horrifyingly evil about stopping the O'Driscoll, particularly given that we didn't kill him or anything. We just tied him up and left him on the road for somebody to find, right? So that's a big deal, right? So that's part of it. Then somebody saw the situation, misunderstood what was going on, was going to, misunderstand the situation vocally to the authorities. That would have caused problems. Stopping him was self-defense. Tried to stop it and resolve it peacefully. Tried to talk to him. Then he threatened us, pulled a gun. He pulled a gun back. He started shooting. So we then didn't shoot him. Nice of us, right? That was very nice of Arthur not shooting the guy, I think. So in a case like that, right, most of what happened there was probably a foolish situation. Right, so nothing that happened there was particularly smart. Most of it should not have happened. Oh, those are horses. That's a deer. I missed. Darn. Okay. Oh, wait. Is that... Oh, yeah. No, I have to reload for each shot for that one. So none of that was actually was prudent. None of it was smart. Right? How Arthur handled that situation was not the intelligent way of handling that situation.
Easy. All right, easy now.
Okay.
Get the hell out of my sight!
I don't get why these guys just don't want company. I was just saying hello. So, in any case, none of that was smart, right? None of the way Arthur resolved the situation was intelligent. That was not the smart way of solving the problem. However, nothing he did there was forthrightly unjustifiable, right? None of it was, in our really strict, careful sense, criminal. Even if maybe tying up the O'Driscoll boy, that might have been criminal in the malum prohibitum sense. That might have been prohibited by law. But that's really quite different from saying that it was criminal in the sense of a direct assignable harm to an unjust assignable harm to an innocent party. Where those any more of those rabbits around? Because I want one. Nah, they hid pretty soon. It's pretty sufficiently hidden. Oh well. Move on.
Yeah. There we go.
So that being the case, right? Oh, come on. Oh. Now everybody's moving. What the hell is that?
Yeah.
You can't turn me in. This ain't just.
Just? You robbed and murdered your way across half the country. Keep your distance. Son of a bitch, kill him! Take that bastard down!
You couldn't leave it alone, huh?
Teach those sons of bitches!
You a one dead bastard!
That's better.
This one's out!
You're done now.
Bounty hunters on, from what I can tell, a probably innocent,
I won't be tied up like some slave.
you are.
You
That's actually kind of low.
go down.
Is there another one coming? Is that it?
You'll die out here!
Nope.
You're making a mistake tying me like this.
Okay. Probably not.
Hell! Could you get me off this damn nag?
So again, doing what needs to be done. These guys are just bounty hunters doing their job, but this guy is at least seems to be innocent. So let's see, is he?
Come on, man, cut the ropes off.
Well, those two ain't your problem anymore.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. I knew you wasn't gonna take me in. I knew you was a good man.
Well, well, ain't you a sad sight?
Well, let's see. I'm assuming he's... Based on what he said, he's probably... Let's go with innocent. Unless he turns around and tries to kill me.
I sure owe you one. If I'm gonna be hanged, at least let it be for a crime I committed.
Okay.
If you want to make some easy cash, there's a bunch of high rollers who play poker a couple of floors up over the gunsmith in Saint Denis.
Would you look at that? So let's move on. Let's not mess with the tied-up folks. Leave their horses. No need to mess with them any further. At least we should be glad that Arthur carries an unlimited quantity of rope. Very handy in these sorts of situations. Anyway, now that you've got the question in my mind, I've been pretty mindful about trying to avoid outright, straightforwardly immoral actions, right? Or at least obviously obviously immoral actions for which we can't really present a justification. Let's take off our mask.
It's an interesting way of putting it, Seamus.
No doubt. I do interesting very well. It's trusting I don't do so well.
Please. I know how to work with good people, Seamus, and I work in the right way.
Well, they all say that. I never met an idiot that called himself one.
Very true.
All right.
In that case, I'm an idiot. But I know how to get things done efficiently. Look at me. Why would I lie about this?
All right, so now let's go commit some actual, technically and precisely defined crime. I can't type. There we go. Let's take our repeater and our rifle.
Arthur, this is Seamus. He's our new partner.
I ain't no such thing.
Prospective new partner, if he likes us.
Liking ain't the problem. Trusting is, as I said. Keep your voices down. I don't want my boss hearing. This is a sideline.
Of course. Look at us. Honest as the day is long.
Exactly.
I'll tell you what. Let us prove ourselves.
Prove ourselves? To this clown? What you talking about?
Good day, Hosea. Good luck with your business dealings.
Listen, he's rough and ready and quick with his tongue, but I swear you can trust him and trust me.
I'm an old man.
You're not old, Seamus.
I'm old enough. And you know why I ain't dead?
You don't trust idiots.
Exactly.
We're not idiots. Let us prove it to you.
Okay. I'll tell you what.
Arthur.
Old Bob Crawford and his boys just bought a beautiful stolen stagecoach from upstate. It's in their barn. Now you go get that, and then we can work together.
Who's old Bob Crawford?
An acquaintance of mine.
So you want us to take out your competition?
Well, he's not just an acquaintance, but a cousin. By marriage. I also want to see if you boys got what it takes. Now, you survive that.
Where is he?
He's in a farmhouse just northwest of here called Carmody Dell. It's just up the train tracks as you're heading up towards Fort Wallace. There's also some money in that house, but that's your business, not mine. But don't kill nobody. Folks know we ain't intimate no more, and they'll know it was me.
But you're fine with us robbing your cousin.
By marriage. And yes, I'd love it.
You heard the man. Let's go rob his cousin.
By marriage.
So, I was wrong. This is not so straightforwardly criminal as I might have thought. This is actually another complex question because this is...
Really?
Lead the way.
Stealing.
The place is just northwest of here.
Stealing from a thief.
You're the one who's been out gallivanting around
Stealing
here.
stolen property.
That's what you call it.
Watch out!
Okay, sorry.
Watch out.
Sorry. All right.
Clearly you've recovered from your bear encounter.
Whoop. Hello.
Could have played that better, couldn't you?
Thought you wanted me here to show some strong arm. That's usually how it goes.
Yes, but you know how this works.
Come on, Hosea. That feller's a joke.
And that's why he's perfect. Won't cause us any problems. A safe spot, defense, wagons, and coaches, that's easy money for us.
I guess you're right.
Come on, it's not like he's asking us to rob a bank. If the two of us can't steal a stagecoach from Seamus's old crooked cousin by marriage, we should hang up our hats now. Ha!
How you feeling about things now?
What things?
This place. The gang. Been here a few weeks now.
Good, I think. Better.
I figured more folks would have cut and run on us, given everything that happened.
Like Dutch always says, a lone wolf don't last long out on the plains.
He does like to trot that one out.
People see that, especially when they get a few years on them. Even someone like Micah.
There's a couple of folks I wish had cut and run.
Maybe they'd say the same about you. Hold!
Ooh, a deer. Neat. Okay, moving on. Alright, let's go. Got distracted by a deer. Anyway, so yeah, this, the whole idea of stealing stolen property makes this a much more complicated situation than I thought. Now, obviously, there is the potential problem of this being for entirely selfish reasons. Obviously, entirely selfish reasons. All right, so the rationale behind it is not stopping crime, etc.
Head off. Come on.
I'm coming. Calm down. Wait, let's
see what we're dealing with. Come on.
So that is a potential problem, right? There's the potential problem of trying to rob somebody, even a criminal, for selfish reasons. That doesn't seem like at least not a morally benevolent sort of an action. But the question is it criminal? Well, no, technically.
Let's take a quick look at the place.
Typically, we consider stolen property to be either the property of the person they stole it from, if they would, attempt to recover it, or it would be unowned.
Nope. Okay. I reckon we could do it now. Sneak in, I'll get the coach. You can try the house. Or wait until morning when I'll head over, distract them by putting on a little show, while you sneak into the house, find what you can, and then get the stagecoach. What do you think?
Well, let's do it tonight.
Let's do it now.
All right. I reckon we're ready. Let's go. Maybe take a peek through the windows before you go in. Make sure it's all quiet.
All right. So here, so I mentioned that that stolen property is traditionally considered unowned. Right. However, that it does have, it is, let's put it this way, that the original owner, the proper owner, can justifiably lay claim to their stolen property. That said, let's be quiet. If they can lay claim to their stolen property, they can lay claim to it from the person who stole it from them. Now, if you steal it from the thief, right? If you steal stolen property and you take it from the thief, it was, it being unowned, properly speaking. Ooh, a chest. then in that case, the person who initially stole it would still owe for compensation for what they stole. And so in this case, the people I'm robbing, if they were to confront me, or I guess I should say, if the people who these people robbed were to confront me, Arthur Morgan, about this robbery, about stealing their stuff, or stuff that these people bought with their money or their property or what have you. In that case, I could justifiably just point them back to these people and say, they owe you the money. We robbed them, but we don't technically owe you anything. Now, it would be supererogatory, to use a term I used last week again, in terms of ethics. It would be supererogatory, right, beyond what is strictly required by ethics, but it would be a good thing to compensate the people who these people stole from. Right? Because I do, in fact, have their property and or the property that these people used their money to buy, that sort of thing. If that is the case, right, it would be good of me, it would be charitable of me to compensate the people who these people stole from. But it would not be a strict obligation, right? I wouldn't owe it back to them, like these people would owe it back to them. And this is why we ought to consider stolen property to be unowned, right? Because, again, anyone can justifiably just sort of take it. I don't want to wake you up. No, I don't. Not at all. I want that lockbox under your bed. I also want that. There we go. Pointers. Yeah, there we go. The clip. Can I get to that lockbox without waking you up? I don't think I can. Darn. That was the benefit of going during the day, wasn't it? Is there one over here? Anything over there? Nope. Okay. Time to go. Anyway, I think that's about it. Let's meet back up with Hosea.
Get on, dear boy.
Who the hell doesn't lock their doors? Anyway.
Come on, get on and
so,
let's head
robbing a
out.
bunch of thieves, justifiable. If not the best moral option, it's certainly at least acceptable. It's not altruistic or a requirement of justice, or even a particularly good thing to rob from a criminal, particularly because you're doing it for entirely selfish reasons in this case, right? Or Arthur, I guess I should say, is doing it for entirely selfish reasons. But that's fine under most circumstances. A lot of what most people do most of the time is for at least partially selfish reasons. We do all sorts of things in order to feed ourselves, and that's kind of what they're really doing here.
Nicely done. We got everything we needed.
And I'm pretty sure they never even knew I was there.
Yes, wait. Less problems the better right now. Just need to get this back to Seamus in one piece, and it's a good night's work.
So
what were you able to lift from the house?
Here.
A few bits and pieces. Nothing too fancy.
Well, we need anything we can get right now.
Yeah, so...
This is easier than hunting a 1,000-pound grizzly anyway.
No doubt. I won't forget that in a hurry.
I'm looking forward to your retelling of that one around the campfire.
It wasn't the first time Mr. Matthews had stared death in the eye. And as usual, he did not flinch.
Yeah, exactly. How long you think we're gonna stick around here for?
What are we doing off the road?
Oh, calm down.
Not sure.
Man.
Till we can't, I suppose. Feels like we're starting to get back on our feet, slowly but surely. Just need to keep at it. Dutch has a new money chest stashed in a safe spot away from camp, but it's a long way from being full.
I hope it's not stashed in town like we did in Blackwater.
Even if we had to dump the money from the ferry, we could have at least got the rest out if it was hidden someplace else.
Okay, here we are. Just pull the coach into the barn there. Hello, Seamus. We met your cousins.
How was it?
Fine. Nice people.
Park that thing in here. Quickly. Nice work, Hosea.
It was mostly Arthur. Like I said, coarse but competent.
Here.
Thank you.
If you find any other coaches that need selling, I'll see what I can offer you for them. But discreet, you know.
Of course.
Goodbye, gentlemen.
I'm heading back to camp, I think. You coming?
No, I need to sell some stuff to Seamus.
I'll catch up with you later.
Okay. Stay out of trouble.
Definitely need to sell some things to Seamus come morning. Can I just wait here or no? I cannot. It's oh wow, it's really early evening, isn't it? Is he coming around?
Hello? So old Bob Crawford was livid about his coach getting robbed. I was very sympathetic.
You are a good cousin by marriage, Shane.
It has been 3 minutes.
I try. Now, anyway, I trust this ain't just a social call.
No, I need to sell some stuff. Anyway. So yeah, in this case, you know, stealing stolen property, even when there's a floating candle nearby, stealing stolen property is not strictly criminal. Because again, it's more or less like acquiring or taking unowned property. Are you gonna sell? Are you gonna buy anything, or am I just gonna wait around? I gotta wait for morning, don't I? Darn. Okay. How do I do that? Forget how to wait for morning. There's a way to do it. Anyway. So I guess in this case, even, you know, well, presumably early enough in the game, this is even still not quite, at least not necessarily, criminal. There is still a case to be made for this being, if not maybe the right thing to do, right? Not heroic or not morally praiseworthy per se. It's at least that's a mule. Ooh, it's a nice one. I want it. Is it someone's or is this just... Neat.
You'll be all right.
I can't ride it, can I?
Good boy. There, boy.
Okay, never mind. Nice friendly mule, but ain't mine. Alright, I'm gonna see where I can go to set up camp. Then I'll set up camp. Yada yada yada. Sleep in the tent. All that. Anyway. So. There we go. So, anyway. If we're going to be more careful and we're actually going to look through and see if we can find until morning. See if we can find a case where the gang are actually doing criminal activities, actually committing crimes in the proper sense. We gotta look further, because this case is, again, it's not ideal. It's a selfish action, but that doesn't mean that it's immoral, right? Selfish actions are acceptable, if not supererogatory, if not heroic. They are perfectly acceptable, right? So where is the fence? Oh, he's up there. Okay. Right. So, in a case like we just saw, it's not like it was certainly not a crime, not morally ideal, but morally acceptable at the very least. Alright. So, what do we think? Do you guys have any thoughts on this sort of theory that I've been spinning here on what counts as a crime, what's not?
Don't you so much as look at me funny this time.
What'd I do? Now I'm going to keep that for pointless sentimental reasons. I need bourbon. There.
Welcome back, mister.
Ooh, heck yeah, I need that.
Nice.
Poison arrow? Yeah, let's take
Good
that.
choice.
That's absurd. That doesn't even make sense. But alright, let's wait for the rest. Cool. So we made our money back for our rifles. So that's good. Anyway. So, what's next? So, any thoughts on my what stands for a justification for I guess if you're willing to call it a life of crime, I think we would, call it a life of crime, at least in the vernacular. That I think I've done a relatively good job, much better than I thought I was gonna, justifying this sort of a life. So Kevin, how's that do for you? It only took me, what, 2 hours, give or take? Oh, no, it was only an hour and a half. It wasn't that bad. It only took me like an hour and a half, but I think I gave you a decent enough explanation of how I think we might be able to justify something that would be reasonable to call a life of crime. The catch is that, yeah, you can justifiably live a life of crime as long as you're not actually committing any crimes. That's the trick. Can't study it. Darn. Okay, that one got away. Let's go see it. So, what'd you think? I'm anxious to hear if you think I did a halfway decent job at it. Anyway, while we do all this, tonight it is taking an absurd amount of time to actually interact with things. And that's what's throwing me off, I think. Oh wait, I didn't want to do that. No, I want to skip. Here we go. Another point is that especially early on in the game, I don't have much of a particular problem with playing Arthur as a criminal, even in the proper sense. All right, so even if what we're doing is in fact crime, in the full, malum in se sense, particularly early on in the game, that to me is just playing into the theme of the game, which is redemption, right? Are you kidding? There. Okay. Well, that was ridiculous.
Yep.
Right, so, what I mean there, in terms of like playing into the theme of the game, right? The theme is in the title. Right? The theme is about death and about redemption. I've talked about this before, even going back to the first stream. Right? Those are really the two big themes of the game: are death, very gradually dealing with dying, and then redemption, redeeming oneself from a life of crime, from all sorts of terribly wrong things that one has done throughout life, right? Or in this case, what Arthur has done throughout life, right? So in that case, right, so if we're talking about redemption, it seems, reasonable in terms of the character and the character's growth, right? So if we're going to have a character who grows from one point to another, they have to start somewhere.
Easy.
Who's that guy? He's got a gun.
Don't you worry about it, okay? Anyway, how's it going with you? Okay, well, all the best now.
Hope to meet again, stranger. Good luck to you.
Okay. Nice guy.
Yeah. Hey, mister.
So yeah, that's this actually kind of ties in with one of the things that I'm gonna get back to working on a video lecture about, which is something which I'd more or less call Plato's Guide to.
Come here. Okay.
Oh.
Lord have mercy.
Oh.
Shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just got killed by his horse. That's cool. I want to see about that horse. What's going on up here?
Yep.
Alright, well, I can't get to it. Yeah. Let's see what this white area on the map is about. There's a big question mark here. Ah.
Hey there, friend. Come on. Stop on by for a moment.
Okay.
There, girl. The name's William.
Or is this that herbalist guy? Yeah, it is.
Arthur, you familiar with the study of plants, my friend? Familiar ain't quite the word I'd use. Well, let me tell you. This great earth beneath our feet can provide everything man ever needs. But we've only reached a tiny bit of its potential. You see, there are thousands, maybe millions of plants all across this vast country we share. The mountains, the plains, the swamps. I mean to explore them all, to know all of nature's bounty and all of her wonder, if I can. Sure. But I'm only one man. Would you consider helping me with gathering herbs for my studies? Why? Knowledge, kindness, beauty. Well, I'm ignorant, ugly, and nasty. Well, let's see if maybe we can do something about that. I'll see. I'm looking for a plant called yarrow. You can distinguish it by its red flowers. It shouldn't be too hard to find. They thrive out in the open under direct sunlight.
I think I got some.
Let's see how this tastes. Oh, yeah. I feel better already. They were right. This stuff does have medicinal properties.
It's quite the way to find out.
Save it for bad injuries. Heaven forbid your horse is in trouble. You'll be glad you had it. Now, if you don't mind, I'll be getting back to my studies. I look forward to our next meeting, traveler.
I can see why you do this. All the best to you.
Thanks, Arthur. And to you.
Okay, girl.
All right. So, back to it. How do we get down from this little plateau? There. All right. So, as we move on, So, anyway, my answer, really, to Kevin's question back in the chat, is that a rattlesnake or something? Is that you can justify a life of crime if in that life of crime you don't actually commit any crimes, which really sounds like a cop-out, but, I mean, honestly, a lot of really sophisticated philosophical answers, especially in ethics, sound like cop-outs. But that's because they depend so thoroughly on definitions. And careful definitions. That's a crap one. How about this one? Is that better? Ooh, that's much better. Better. Did it? Really? Are you serious? Okay, well, that was ridiculous. I think you're supposed to. I guess you're supposed to use arrows for jackrabbits. Ah, well, whatever. Moving on.
Yep.
But yeah, so it comes down to this, right? So yeah, it's perfectly justifiable to live a life of crime, as long as you're not actually committing any real crimes. So, you know, that kind of works. This is similar to something like some of Plato's answers in the Republic to why you should live a just life. Right? Why should you be just? Part of his answer, really, if you really want to just overly shorten and summarize his answer, is because it's just, because it's good. Right? Why be good? Well, because being good is good. Which is not an answer, right? It's not an answer by itself. But if you fiddle through and be very careful about your definitions all the way through and figure it out, and take, well, if you're looking at the Republic, take 10 books to figure out exactly what all that means, then that becomes a legitimate, real answer. So, just like we've done, if I take an hour and a half to explain what I mean by crime, then there is a plausible scenario in which you can lead a life of crime, but not actually commit any crimes. Where the heck was that thing that I just saw? That's weird. I swear there was this quest right here. If only during the day and it just became night or something. That's weird. Oh well. Moving on.
Yeah.
Oh, it's back. What the heck? Alright, I'll figure this out. Maybe. It's not that guy, is it?
Hey there, mister.
Oh. Not him. This is odd. Yeah. Oh, here. What's this? Oh, it's her. Okay, cool.
Did he send you?
Excuse me?
Because if they did, they can get lost. I have never been so insulted in all my life. Really, laughed at. Balderdash. Yes, unlike them.
What are you doing?
Are you quite certain you're not a spy?
A spy?
Those wretches will do anything to destroy me. My theories are correct, and I can prove it.
What theories?
I am the leading amateur paleontologist in the nation, and not one university will hire me because, unlike them, I actually have ideas.
You're a what?
I study dinosaurs. You know, big lizards.
Are they real?
Of course they're real, you nincompoop. And everywhere
Everywhere?
This state was once a vast, shallow sea that had the most incredible animal that could walk, swim, and fly. Quite unique. I call it Totalisaurus. Just for now. I'm trying to gather all the evidence. Miss Deborah McGinnis.
Arthur.
Good to meet you. Could you give me a hand here, please?
Of course.
Yeah. Listen, if you find any of these bones around the country, send them to my homestead at Furwood Rise in Cumberland Forest. Or mail me the locations. I'll reward you handsomely for your efforts.
Sure. Why not?
And we'll be proving a lot of stuck-up buffoons very, very wrong. Which, trust me, is the very best thing about science. Good day to you, sir!
Alright. So find some dinosaur bones.
Come on, girl.
Yeah, so this is 1899. I actually don't know too much about the history of paleontology. I don't know that if this how accurate this was. I'm assuming it's decently right. I know the 19th century was very, very early in terms of paleontology, studying dinosaurs and whatnot. So it seems reasonable enough to me, at least. Give me just a second. I have to try and fix something here. Having problems with the stream. Give me a second. That's better. Okay. There we go. That'll do. Alright. Oh, yeah, so that explains. It skipped a bunch of the chat in my look at the live chat, so. Last thing I saw was about Cinnabon. So. Oh, it's coming, but I'm safe. Alright. Oh, I just saw it. Head back to the house to check the chimney. I didn't see it. I walked by it to see if there was an interaction button, that sort of thing, and I didn't see one. So I usually do, but I guess I might not have been careful enough. Weiss, what do you mean holding the reins upside down? If you're still in here, I don't know what you mean. I'm looking now. Anyway.
Swanson, you hear me?
Yeah, let's Kevin, I still haven't got an answer. Oh yeah, so you liked it, but any issues with how I sort of approached that? I know it was really roundabout.
Swanson,
but I love roundabout answers like that because I really follow Plato quite a bit. Weiss says, oh, I was taught to hold the reins at the end going to the horse mouth coming out the top. Huh. Yeah, no, I see what you mean. Yeah, it does make sense. Yeah, his hands are, I guess you can say his hands facing in instead of facing out. I don't know. Maybe Arthur's lazy. That seems like the lazy way of doing it to me. I don't know. I don't ride. I actually don't know, so I'm not an expert.
Mr. Morgan! I took your advice, sir. I took your advice.
Then your god has finally deserted you. What you talking about?
I took your advice, sir. I have removed myself from Morpheus's embrace. No more shall I sink, sir. I am free. I am free.
You don't seem free, friend. You seem drunk.
Sit down, Reverend. We ain't finished.
You ain't finished. Look at him, he's finished.
None of us forced liquor down his throat, friend. I just wanted to play.
Now, firstly, we ain't friends. Don't make no mistake on that subject. Now, secondly, he can't hardly see, let alone reason. Now, reasoning ain't never been one of my strong points neither, but seeing I do just fine. You want to step outside or deal with business here?
I just want him to finish the game.
Why can't we all just get along? These are good men, Arthur. They're children of God. They are children of God.
Oh. How's about you playing his place, huh? That seems fair?
Fair?
Sure. You want a game?
Yeah, let's do it.
Sure. I'll play a few hands.
Well, sit yourself down then.
All right, so let's see. So Weiss says, I was taught to hold the reins and going to the horse, mouth coming at the top, if that makes any sense. So outwards. Western riders hold it different than English. He's holding them English. Accidentally, the brute force way of doing it. There's a trick there. Due to the Western riders ride with one hand on the reins. But then again, I don't know how it used to be done. Yeah, it's possible that things changed over time.
We go a long way back.
Queen 10, offsuit.
Chaperone.
I guess it's something like that. Can we play?
He can't be no real clergyman. He committed about 5 cardinal sins just in that chair you're sitting in.
Think he used to be.
Yeah, all right, that's pretty good.
Drifted a little in recent years. Life is a challenge to all of us.
Oh, come on. This ain't kid poker.
Can you imagine him at the pulpit? If he could stand up.
On the 4th day, he turned water into whiskey, and I don't remember much after that.
It's not too great. I got a pair of queens.
He's a decent fella going through a bad time. Disrespect him again, and you'll find yourself in a bad time, too.
You do find out eventually that Arthur is English, at least by descent, so maybe his grandpappy taught him or something.
Yeah, I know. Pretty pathetic.
Maybe it's easier to model in the game.
At least make it interesting.
Oh, alright. I got 2 pairs. I'm going to bet a lot.
There we go.
I'm a bad bluffer.
Call.
Ooh, alright.
There.
Pile of crap.
Not looking good.
Come on!
Alright, not bad.
Come on!
Love that dumb little grin when you win a hand. Alright, I gotta win 5 hands for quests. I'm gonna go through this as we go. Alright. Let's skip the shuffle and all that. So I got a Queen 7, same suit. Let's raise it.
Forgive me. It's all I can afford.
Damn it. Gonna start small here.
Ooh, alright. I'll call it. Weiss says, that would make sense. It's more just amusing to me because we used to have a huge amount of trouble with people holding the reins upside down. Actually still do. Huh. Alright, what do we got? Queen 7. Oh god, there's no hearts. I'm screwed. Check. Crap. It's weird to have a game where the horses are even halfway well done. They are surprisingly well done. It's not great, but it's definitely something. It's definitely more than usual. They still do sort of have the problem of running headlong into things. I'm gonna check. I should have bluffed him out. I have literally nothing. Damn.
I got bullshit.
Alright. Well, we lost one.
That's awful.
Yeah, there is still a bit of a problem where the horses, if left sort of unguided, will run just headlong into things, which I cannot imagine is realistic. Right? If you, I'm assuming, again, I'm not a rider, I don't know. I'm assuming though that if you, I'll check.
Check.
That if you're not guiding the horse, that the horse will not just plow into something.
Check.
Heck yeah. 10 cents. Let's do it.
Boring.
Is that it?
Says, and bucking and screaming all the time, horses aren't that noisy. Yeah, I hadn't really thought of that, but yeah, that's another one.
Here.
What are my cards? 7? Alright. And it's Diamonds. That's not going to help me. Yeah, screw you. I'm raising.
There.
Okay.
Huh. Yeah, they don't even like getting their feet wet. That's yeah. No, it's I think it's like
Okay.
you haven't seen it yet. Not tonight. And I don't even know if I'll call it. Let's see. I don't know if I've done it yet, even on this stream.
Here.
What? Are they a big finale from me?
There we go. God, that's rude. That's spectacular.
Come to me.
Anyway, though, yeah, they a lot of times, even if you go on cinematic camera, where the horse just kind of go along the trail, a lot of times you'll just run headlong into somebody, and it's pretty annoying. Not just because you'll piss somebody off and get a bounty, but also because it strikes me as super unrealistic. It doesn't seem like the kind of thing that would happen. Wow, that's crap.
Maybe I'm just not very good.
That's really crap. Yeah.
Okay.
Check.
Literally the worst hand, but whatever. Ah, God.
Nah, I don't think.
Nah.
No.
Not for me.
So Y says they'll ram into people if they're scared enough, but they don't like hitting anything squishy. Yeah, no, that does not mesh with the game's horse AI at all.
And another check.
They
Why
will.
Don't that surprise me?
No.
Damn.
Nope. Not no way. There's absolutely
better than
no
nothing.
way. Yeah, it's more like they'll just kind of not notice that somebody's there and just plow through them. That kind of bugs me.
Bastard, eh?
The people we've met at this table, huh, Marvin?
Anyway, so some of the stuff, another freaking 3-7. I mean, I could get a straight flush. I won't, but I could.
I know.
Let's go for it.
Too exciting.
Jesus,
Let's go
you
for
play
it.
like my grandmother.
Let's start this low for now.
Let's call.
Yep.
All right, WizKid.
Sure.
Good to see you. Well, I will see you tomorrow for D&D. Ooh, okay,
Not for
okay.
me.
There's still mathematically
Here.
possible that I'll get a flush, but I do have a pair. Yeah, I'll call.
My guess is you're bluffing.
Technically, I have 2 pair.
All in.
Ooh, okay, yeah, heck yeah, I'm calling it.
I
Because
ain't buying it.
one more card, I could get a
what do we
flush. If that's a diamond, I
There you
win.
go.
Christ.
Not looking good, huh?
Sneaked in at the end there.
All right, there we go.
Well, I guess I ain't beating that.
All right.
All right, WizKid. Yeah, no worries. Currently just playing some poker. Gonna be. Wait, did he just win? How did he just win? Thought I won. Five jack on suit. I'll take it.
I'm a check.
Gonna start small here.
What, queen 5? I'll bet. Anyway.
Again?
Yeah, so... Oh, he had a king pair. Ah, bastard. Alright, whatever. I looked away for a second, thanks. Do I want to check for this? I'm gonna get absolutely nothing, so I'm checking.
No.
I have nothing so far. Wait a minute. No, I don't quite have a straight either. Damn. Whatever.
How about that?
Whew, 2
I
pairs.
guess. Very little.
Alright, that's not bad.
Garbage.
I'll take it.
This is bullshit.
Not your day, is it?
Apparently not. Thought I had this, but oh well. Anyway, so yeah, a couple things I'm working on. I was going to talk about, it's been a couple hours, so I can jump into it. I'll call.
You're real excited. Real excited.
So a couple of things I was recording today, getting ready. I've got one video that is another one that's about SCOTUS. SCOTUS, and this one actually involves J.R.R. Tolkien. Unlike the last ones where I've been talking about SCOTUS. This is bringing in Tolkien sort of as a comparison because, according to my argument at least, they have a really similar idea of the image and likeness of gods, the Imago Dei. I'm going to leave it at that. I'll leave it till the video comes out, at least unless you guys have some really specific questions. I'll bet for a pair of jacks. Why not?
Come on, let's get this going.
Oh, come on. This ain't kid poker.
Have a look at these.
This ain't what you call finishing strong.
Looking good.
There we go.
Could have been worse.
All right. So that's one of them. So Tolkien and SCOTUS on the Imago Dei. That's one of the ones I'm looking at. The other one, I'm looking at Socrates. Taking a look at Socrates' dialogues, and my argument is that Socrates is a troll. And I mean that in the proper modern sense of the term troll. Fine. You know what? I could get a flush, but that's... Yeah, sure, why not? I'll just bet.
Okay.
I'll check.
But yeah, so Socrates does, throughout especially the early dialogues by Plato's account, I can still mathematically get a flush, but it's not a good chance, not good odds, but I'll still raise it. I'll still bet.
Starting to get dull.
Fold.
Nah, he's just sleeping it off, Weiss. It's fine. Preacher Man's okay.
There we go.
No worries. Hey, I got him to fold by bluffing with 4 cents. I love the Old West.
Again? Glad I ain't in your seat.
But yeah, so this is this kind of surrounds the idea of trolling. The definition we get from Michael Malice, who is honestly, I think, the world's foremost troll right now. He is at least the foremost expert on trolling. He understands exactly what that means and what that entails. I'll check for now. Might get it straight, probably not. And it's important to remember that trolling here does not just mean, excuse me, it's not just about, being mean on the internet.
Check.
Because while Socrates might have kind of been a dick sometimes, he's not a.
I'll check.
Yeah, why not?
Nah. Let's see then.
Oh,
Damn it.
that's a miracle.
Sorry to do this, fellas.
Oh, bastard. All right, whatever.
How did I lose the vat?
It all counts. Huh?
But yeah, the idea here is so Michael Malice's idea of trolling is manipulating, tricking, or getting somebody through some way to unwittingly or unwillingly become a performer in your act. Whether that is a comedy act, whether that is a rhetorical act, or whatever. Call.
I check.
It's getting somebody to play into your argument, either against their will or without them realizing it's what they're doing. And a good example of this is an example Malice loves to use is screw you, man. A good example Malice likes to use is how Trump provoked Elizabeth Warren into doing the whole DNA test thing, right? And basically he is showing the populace that he can manipulate Liz Warren.
I'm gonna play slow.
And she's playing straight into it, so she's demonstrating that she is open to being manipulated in this case, that sort of thing. Right? All of that. Oh my god, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have a straight. I'm gonna force them all in. Come on. 130.
Now, don't get too worried.
Huh. Ooh.
Okay. Here, look.
How do you like this?
Things beginning to look up.
Oh, we tied. Alright, fine. I'll live.
Yeah. Yep.
I wonder if that counts as a win.
Better than nothing.
But yeah, so that is, I think, the proper definition of trolling, is getting somebody else to participate in your act, right? So...
Gentlemen, this is getting too rich for me.
Sit down.
Oh, I'm done, friend. It's been a real education. Come on, Rip. Where is he?
Okay, so maybe I should have been looking at the Reverend.
Where?
Uh-oh.
Excuse me, gentlemen. Reverend Swanson! Where'd you go?
So another example,
Excuse me, I'm sorry. You see a drunken idiot priest wandering about?
Sure, we saw him, smelt him, and avoided him. He went that way, I think.
Thanks.
Guy looked kind of crazy, mister.
Great. I absolutely love this music, too, for this. It's great.
Hey, Reverend!
But yeah, I absolutely think that Socrates fits this definition really well. Oh, God, no.
Get your hands off him.
Word. You'll keep. You stay out of it.
Get your hands off him now, you son of a bitch.
What the hell is your problem?
He's with me.
Okay.
Oh, God, killed him.
What? No. No, I didn't. Oh, damn it. Oh, God. I hit him in the face with a gun. I didn't...
Hey, you.
I mean, admittedly, I kind of did. I probably killed him, but... Back here. Back here. Back here.
I said, tell anyone what you saw back there? You're a dead man.
Oh my God. Okay. What the hell are you doing? Don't hurt me. Yep. I won't tell a soul. I promise.
Now, I seen your face. So don't make me come looking for you. Lips sealed now.
Alright, I need to go find the Reverend. That all went terribly bad.
It's the last thing.
Now, where's Reverend?
Well, this is very bad.
You crazy? Reverend! Come on, a friend! It's just a simple mistake. You can still be saved. Huh? What have you done with your foot?
It appears to like this place and wants to stay.
Get your foot out of here! Twist your leg, you drunken bastard! Get it! Come on!
That was fun.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, no, you don't! What the hell is wrong with you?
What the hell is wrong with you? Throwing me off a bridge like
There
that?
was a goddamn train, you crazy bastard!
Have I been bad again, Mr. Morgan? I'm sorry. I wish I was different.
Let's get you home.
Home? Yeah, that's a wonderful idea. I could have tea with Margaret.
Margaret? Who's Margaret?
What?
Methodists, I assume. Anyway. I think another really good example of trolling is
Sleepy.
I follow a couple of sort of pro-life pages. I follow do these polls. One of them, I think it's dank pro-life memes. If you've seen that, it's a good one. That's actually pretty clever. One of the things they did, this was maybe a year or two ago, whatever it was, I don't know. They did this thing where they had a poll up which asked an obviously slanted question, right? It was obviously question begging. It was obviously accusatory. It was something like, are you either A, pro-life, or B, you support the unjustified murder of children? Or it was something absurdly ridiculous like that. Like, the question was phrased in such a way that you just simply cannot answer it in the pro-choice way without claiming to be essentially a moral monster. And what happened was that a bunch of pro-choice people came into the comments and overwhelmed the poll, and it was posted around Left Book, if you want, a lot of that sort of side of Facebook, a bunch of Facebook pages and groups and things, they swarmed the poll, overwhelmingly voted in favor of, explicitly voted in favor of, no, I hate children and I want to murder them, or whatever it was, however it was phrased, I don't remember. And then, went in the comments and were saying things like, oh, I bet this poll isn't going the way you wanted it to, or we bet this poll wasn't going the way you expected. And it's hilarious, because it's going exactly like they would have expected.
I was wondering when he'd show
up. Because the whole point is getting pro-choice people to proclaim their support for murder of children, even if that's not how they actually see it. Right? If that's not actually what they think is going on, that's not why. I mean, obviously, that's not why they support abortion. Right? Anything like this.
You better sleep your way to salvation, my friend.
Getting them to answer like that in the poll and getting them to comment in support of that answer is hilarious. It's an expert troll, because it gets the opponent, gets the other people involved to announce themselves as morally heinous. Because that's what the page was trying to prove. I thought that was brilliantly done. I'm gonna contribute some, give some money up here. Yeah, I thought that was absolutely brilliant. Let's give a couple of bucks, not too much. That was 15. A little bit. I can afford more than that, but I won't yet. Alright. I'll give up some meat, because I got some meat.
Hello, Arthur.
But yeah, that's the kind of thing that is, I think, a great example of trolling.
I'm down to the scraps here now, Mr. Morgan.
Meat.
There should be some real good eating.
Meat. That'll do.
Many thanks, Mr. Morgan. Hey, if you could give me some leather work,
$15 this time was pretty good.
Some rugs, blankets, and the
it's no
like
joke.
these hides you're bringing in.
I mean, admittedly, Arthur's got like $200-something on him. Last time I played through this game, I ended the game with something like $6,000 or something. It was.
Keep my eye out for some good material.
It was a it was a painfully absurd amount of money. I could buy literally anything in the game, and then some. I think the prices are pretty accurate as best I can tell. They're surprisingly accurate. I'd have to look at like provisions, but I know that shotgun shells are actually correct. I looked this up, that shotgun shells are actually the right price. I forget exactly how much it is, but it does even out properly. It's something like a shotgun shell was the equivalent of, I forget if it was a nickel or a dime, in the sort of mid-19th century out west. So that was they actually did the research, at least for some of the things. It's really something. All right, now what? Are there any more quests to do? What am I doing next? I mean, Black Bell, but I got 50 minutes. Tell you what, I think I can do a bounty, if nothing else. Where's my, oh, that doesn't tell me my quests, does it? No, it doesn't. What does tell me my quests? It's on the map somewhere. Index. Missions. Ambient. Locations. No, I have no missions. That's weird. Okay, well, I guess I'll go and do that bounty, I guess, while I'm waiting for the next interesting thing to happen. Oh, I should also sleep, because that's actually important. It's actually relatively important that you sleep in this game, because Arthur gets horrifyingly underweight. I might actually change his clothes, too. No, let's do that first. Pick out a new wardrobe. Gotta go, Kevin. Alright, rosary time. Have a good night, keep me in your prayers, and I'll see you next time. Probably gonna wrap up a little bit early tonight. I might do some more recording later. Probably around 11:30 or so. I like this one. And that's average temperatures. Storm horse. Equip. I need a cold weather outfit on my horse, so Winter Gunslinger's got to go on there. There, that'll work. And let's do a nice sleep till morning. Weiss says, actually, I know part of the reason I've never played this game is that that it really is pretty accurate. These kinds of people haven't changed too much. This feels so real to me that I don't see the point. Man, that's actually pretty cool. Yeah, they did a great job, I think, of if nothing else, certainly of the ambience, of getting the feel right. Now that said, there are obviously some inaccuracies for gameplay purposes, right? Things like bounty collection and whatnot. Things like the map. This is not actually the Western U.S. It's close-ish. It's fairly realistic, relatively speaking, but it's not spot on, obviously, right? The river that's way over here is clearly meant to be the Mississippi. It's not, though. Down here is definitely meant to be New Orleans, and that's way, way, way closer to our stand-in for the Rocky Mountains than it's supposed to be. Right? This is a massive game world, but it's not as massive as it feels like when you actually zoom out and take a look at it. So Weiss says, not that I spend a lot of time around actual cowboys, but I have seen some, and it feels like this. Yeah, that's actually really cool. I knew that they put a lot of effort into the accuracy of a lot of the environments and stuff. The scenery is amazing. Like, a lot of this is, I'm sure, photograph scans, and then they made out the topography, like either photograph scanned or built to resemble the kinds of features you see like in the Rockies. Like, look at that. That is absolutely gorgeous. It's damn impressive, you know. But yeah. But it really does capture sort of the feel of the kind of edge of the Rockies. Let's see what Josiah is up to.
Good morning, Arthur. You did good with Sean. We wouldn't have got him without you.
All we seem to do is rescue folks these days, Arthur.
I know.
Oh, hey, John.
Hey,
John
Arthur.
was there.
What do you want?
Oh, it was a long
Told me
quest
something
line. I'm
about a
going to have to
train.
start partway through it.
What did he say?
Mary Beth overheard something about a train full of wealthy folk rolling down through Scarlet Meadows just south of the state border.
Yes.
You need help with it?
I ain't even sure about doing it.
Come on. At night, not too guarded, it's perfect.
I ain't thought it through. You know, stopping a train, pain in the ass.
Sure. But what if we could force a train to stop?
Well, of course.
We get a wagon full of something flammable, oil. Put it on the tracks. They see it. They know they either have to stop or die. Ain't no train driver wants to be cooked alive.
That is kind of brilliant. For you. That is a real idea. I think that's the first time you ever had one of them.
Shut up.
You might be the first bastard to ever have half his brains eaten by a wolf and end up more intelligent.
So we doing it?
Yeah, we're gonna need ammunition, guns, look real frightening, and some dynamite to open up the train.
I'll get the supplies. Gotta head into town for Abigail anyway. Don't even ask. You go find us an oil wagon.
Yeah, I know just the place. They're always heading into that refinery.
There's an old rundown shack just over the border, north of a place called Dewberry Creek. Leave it hidden somewhere near there.
So Weiss says of cowboys that they're rude, kind of dumb and aggressive. Real ranchers tend to be okay, but I swear rodeo folk just want to lose all their teeth. Sounds right to me. I'm assuming kind of like the folks in the game. Although, I mean, these are supposed to be outlaws more than just simple cowfolk, but. Yeah, I mean that is kind of that seems like the kind of thing you'd get if you're away from civilization and you're just kind of doing your own thing, mostly around animals. You get the kind of the loner kind of attitude sort of thing. That makes enough sense. It makes enough sense as to why they'd be that way.
Let's go, girl.
All right, let's actually do this quest. We're not going to go through this whole quest line. This is a pretty long one, if I remember correctly. It's multiple parts, and it takes a little while. I do not want to talk to Micah again tonight. I don't like him. I will have to eventually, but not just yet. So Weiss also says, I belong to the group of people called the Natural Horsemen. We have some views on this. We're another kind of descendant of these cowboys. Cool. Very cool. Other stuff I'm working on. So like I mentioned, I've got those 2 videos up, or not up, they're recorded, initially recorded. Still plenty of editing to do. Mr. McCoy is going to be doing most of that as usual. I'm also going to be recording some stuff for the philosophy reading group. That is, I mentioned this last night, and I briefly mentioned it in the Facebook post on the page. The idea behind that is that I'm going to go through some complicated bits of philosophy. And I'm going to be reading straight from it, going through gradually, very slowly, very methodically, and adding some commentary. Where? Oh.
You want to go?
Make it a good one,
Put him down!
There'll be not.
I need health.
I'm gonna tell the law all about you. If they ever found you.
They won't. I'm not gonna kill him in there, but okay. So the horse whispering kind of thing. I've only vaguely heard of that sort of thing. I've seen some like documentary type stuff on it. It's really cool. And yeah, I know it's not like mystical sort of psychically communicate with the horses kind of deal, but that kind of call it, I guess, gentle interaction. Yeah, that's a really cool way of interacting with animals. I get it. Certainly a good way of animal training.
I made more money skinning women than men lately.
But yeah, I've done some working with animals. Although nothing so nothing so normal as horses, oddly enough. My actual professional work with animals was with alligators. I was an alligator trainer for a couple of years. That was a lot of fun. It was a very strange sort of job, but it was a really fun one. A lot of it was more like training humans not to get killed by alligators. The alligators that we worked with, more than it was about actually like training the alligators to do much. But it was more like it was about the main part of it was getting the alligators to interact with humans in a reasonable and responsible way.
Get that
It's all good. Calm down.
Damn it. I'm gonna get back to that thing. That was not a good way of handling the situation. Now here is where we get to the actual crime parts of the crime. Parts of the life of crime. Yeah, reptiles are great. I absolutely love reptiles. I love alligators. They are such nice animals. Once you realize how to deal with them, they're actually relatively easy to deal with. The best way of thinking, the best analogy, the closest animal I've ever experienced, I've ever had interaction with, the closest thing to an alligator is a cat. They are absolutely cats. They are cats with slightly different hardware, and that's really about the biggest difference, right? They still do the whole. They're very standoffish. They don't like people by any stretch of the imagination, at least not most of the time. But at the same time, they are perfectly willing to just sort of to be around people once they're used to people, and especially people that they learn to trust. So a lot of us. And one of the strange things that most people who don't deal with reptiles a lot is they like to snuggle, which is so weird, but makes perfect sense because we're warm and they're cold-blooded. Yeah, they like. I worked at a place called the Alligator Attraction. Upstairs, like we had about 50 alligators of various sizes. A lot of them were really, really small, like 1 to 2 years old. We had a few larger ones that were 3, 4 years old. 4, a couple of them were even 5. WizKid, yes, yeah, a couple. Never got bit, but it was very close a couple of times. I have a couple of stories. But yeah, a lot of the times when there weren't really people in, because we dealt a lot with tourists. I live in Florida, because that's kind of our thing, tourists and alligators. Because I dealt with a lot of tourists, but when there weren't too many people around, I'd just kind of take that the gators, the ones who were out for the day to take pictures and stuff, had gauze around their jaws so they couldn't bite anybody. They can still hurt you pretty bad, but it was our job to get hurt so guests didn't. But to kind of, like as a bonding sort of thing, to kind of hang out with them, I'd just kind of sit them on my lap, sit on the bench, and let them warm up on my lap kind of thing. Which they usually appreciated until they're just done, which, like a cat, if you've ever had a cat sitting on your lap, they will sit there absolutely contented for like an hour, and then suddenly they're just done and they want nothing to do with you ever. Alligators are exactly the same kind of thing. But yeah, so I never actually got bit, and I have a hypothesis about that, which is oh, hey, Arthur. I haven't seen Lenny all day. Gonna have to look, probably look in the saloon in Valentine. That's the last place I saw him. Yeah, WizKid, they're basically scaly cats. It's really weird. It's incredible. I love them. I really like reptiles, especially the big ones, the big dangerous ones. They're really cool. I would not have one as a pet. They are incredibly dangerous, even if it were even remotely legal. But yeah, they, like I said, it was my job to get hurt so that the guests didn't. I was a human shield, in large part. Because they are still wild animals, they're still really unpredictable, so if a guest is sitting there, and we take pictures with the alligators, the guest holds the alligator and we take pictures. If the gator starts freaking out, like if somebody makes a noise or something, or somebody moves too suddenly or whatever the case might be, the gator might start thrashing. Even with its jaws gauzed shut, right? They use like veterinary medical gauze. Even with them wrapped shut, the alligator can still smash into you really hard and do a hell of a lot of damage with those jaws. Because those jaws are still, it's basically like getting hit with an axe head. Like the back of an axe head. If you've ever been hit by a really heavy piece of metal or stone that has a sharp edge to it. Did I just kill that thing? No, that's not what I meant. Can't I just stab it? I wanted to just this is ridiculous. I should not hunt with my foot, I suppose. Okay, that was ridiculous. That totally didn't work. What in the hell? Yes, I am a crazy fool. I thought that would work. I thought that was going to be the kill thing. I know I am. I'm very sorry. Oh, I have to go kill that one because I critically injured it. Oh no. I feel bad now. I did not intend for this. I'm sorry, dear. That was not amazing. That was ridiculous. Oh, God. I did not intend for any of that to happen. My bad. Oh, well. I got some venison out of it. I thought you could just run up to it and do the quick kill thing. The, nice, merciful knife kill thing. But apparently not. Apparently you can horrifyingly injure them with your hunting knife. Oh my god, I feel awful about that. That was terrible. One should not do that. What? Oh, fine, I'll leave it out here. Anyway, what I was saying about alligators. So a lot of the times, the alligator will freak out, start thrashing its jaw around its very, very hard, very, very heavy, tough jaw. Let's grab Hershey or Arthur 2. What are these guys? That's a Morgan. That's a Tennessee Walker. Yeah, let's saddle up Arthur 2 for right now.
Okay, let's go switch them.
Cool. That'll work. But anyway, yeah, so they,
I'm always happy to stable that horse.
So yeah, a couple of times, this happened more than once, an alligator freaked out and starts thrashing around. My job as the trainer at that point was to grab the alligator, take it away from the guest, and make sure that the gator doesn't hit the guest, either with its jaws or with its tail or anything else like that. What that often meant was allow myself to get hit in the face with an alligator jaw. The worst case of that was I sort of browned out for a minute. I didn't black out. I wasn't unconscious or anything. It didn't knock me out. But I distinctly don't remember, like, 10 or 15 seconds. I just remember, instinctively holding the gator out away from myself, tight grip, standing away from the guests, and then I just sort of came to as my vision kind of unclouded, because the alligator had hit me with its, rock-hard jaw right in the temple. Not a very good place to get hit by anything, let alone an alligator at full swing. That was rough. It was not the funnest experience, but it was a heck of a story. Is he singing? It was a lot of fun, despite what I just said about it not that in particular not being the funnest experience. But working with alligators was a great time. I don't know if I honestly don't know if that was more fun or less fun than my current job, which is teaching. I really do love teaching. It's kind of my dream job. But I'm very glad that I took it was mostly summers. It was while I was an undergraduate. To train alligators and work with tourists and stuff. It was great, especially probably the best part about it from a practical standpoint was that it really did help my teaching as well. What kind of bird is it? I want to see. What is this? Pheasant. Great. Anyway, but yeah, it really did help my teaching because a lot of what I did was interacting with tourists and teaching, basically just teaching about the animals. And I did, tours. I perfected my tour guide voice, all of that stuff, which I've lost a little bit, but I could probably pick it back up. If you've done entertainment work, anything like that, the tour guide voice. You know it very well. But that's really the kind of thing that I learned to do very well there. That transitions actually pretty closely into classroom teaching. Wise says, I know we had trouble with the fact with something we had trouble with was the fact that most people have never worked with big herbivore and they have no idea how they work. I was an instructor, so I taught kids how to ride. It was astounding how dumb some people were. I can only imagine. We had several people attempting to pet our very large 8-foot alligator by the name of Chompers, who was quite calm and lethargic, thankfully. He was very well fed and he was pretty well trained. We went in there with him quite a bit. So it could have been a hell of a lot worse. But there were people trying to lean over the top of the enclosure and reach down towards him with their hands. And other such absolutely ridiculously stupid sorts of things. things that you really just have trouble believing that anyone would ever be stupid enough to do. So I totally get the whole. You just can't believe how dumb people are when they first try and interact with animals, when they just don't know what they're doing. Yeah, I totally get that. And quite honestly, I mean, despite being herbivores, I know how dangerous horses can be. So it's not like you're dealing with cute little fluffy puppies and we're dealing with apex predators. Yeah, we're dealing with apex predators, but you're dealing with animals who can kill those apex predators in particular. So, so you say, White says, yeah, we're really used to predators also, so even people who are good with animals aren't necessarily good with horses. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, alligators are like cats. If you know how to deal with a cat who is extremely dangerous, you really do know how to deal with an alligator. Just leave it the hell alone. It won't bother you. It'll hiss when it's mad. If it hisses, back off. It will lunge and attack you, but it will not chase you. It's basically a cat. I've been noticing some stuff even just watching the game. Horses can't see behind them. That is a bizarre point. I hadn't thought. Is that actually the case, that horses can't see behind them? I would have thought with the not binocular vision, the other thing, the prey thing, the eyes on their sides kind of thing. I would have thought they could. They would have had a decent, at least a pretty respectable field of view. Oh, actually, though, I think I have heard that before, though, and that's why horses will often kick if they get surprised from behind, right?
Easy.
Yeah, it's one of those that, actually, funny, really. All right, how about this? I will wrap up with two more alligator attraction stories. Do you want to hear the story first about the turtles, or the story about the penis? Technically, there's two penis stories, but I'm going to save one for later. So, turtles or penis? Let me know in the chat. While Arthur goes and shaves.
Hey, listen! I just wanted to say, I know you bastards missed me.
Arthur! Oh, Arthur!
You seem in a good mood.
I am, son. I am. Let's have some fun. Tonight. Let's enjoy ourselves.
Are we having a party?
Oh,
Maybe.
okay.
Just a little one.
Great.
We got time to do this. All right, so I'll tell the turtle story first. The penis story is really, really quite simple, and it involved alcohol. But the turtle story, we also had little red slider turtles, little sorts of things. But we did this thing where people could feed them moistened like fish food stuff, basically turtle food, out of a baby bottle, and people loved that. Oh no, it was they fed the koi fish. They fed koi fish food out of a baby bottle. But there were turtles around, so we had to give them like stuff for the turtles. They were in the same big pond. And apparently somebody thought that they really, really wanted a turtle. So they decided to put a turtle, a little red-eared slider, in their pocket to try and leave with it. I assume alcohol was involved. I don't know. We caught the guy. We put his picture up on the. Well, no, we didn't. We just showed his picture to everybody on the security stuff, so all the employees knew who to look out for, and just sent him along his merry way without the turtle that we noticed he was walking very awkwardly, trying to conceal in his pocket. Arthur's totally going to start singing. Absolutely. So, the penis story, which is very appropriate for this song. The penis story. So there was a guy who was we got a lot of drunk people. This was right off of the beach in Florida. So we did get a lot of drunks coming in and thinking, I can play with the alligators. That'll sound like a great time. So a lot of people come in and want to see and want to play with the alligators and be drunk about it. So that never worked out well. If people were too drunk, we would just kind of like not let them in. But we didn't catch that this guy was as drunk as he was. So he tried to pee into Chomper's enclosure. Chomper's, the 8-foot, fully grown male alligator, who was rather, lethargic, but also could kill you quite easily. He decided to literally unzip his pants and try to pee into Chomper's enclosure through the bars, like putting his penis into the bars. He did not lose anything. We very quickly stopped him and kicked him out. But it was not before Chompers woke up and started noticing that something was entering his enclosure. Yeah, that could have been incredibly bad. But thankfully, we're relatively quick at training the tourists. Probably at least as quick as we are training the alligators. But that was exactly the kind of thing that you expect to happen on a Florida beach where there are alligators around. And that people think those alligators are domesticated, which is absolutely absurd. They're not, but people think they are. Oh, hi, Ruby.
Hello.
Anyway, I do have one other penis story, but I'll save that for another time. And it does involve the alligator attraction.
I'm not quite sure.
Not alligators, they don't have penises, they have cloacas. Or internal genitalia.
Keeps happening.
Yeah, Weiss, no wonder I hear stories about Florida. Yeah, they're all true. This is a strange, alien place compared to literally the rest of the world. We're home to the strangest people I have ever seen. There was one point where, while I was in college, somebody in my college, in my city, was drunk, running around with a plastic lightsaber, and deflected a taser from police who were trying to arrest him because he was drunk and swinging at people. Yeah, sure, Mary Beth.
Feels like ages.
Sure, I ain't much of a dancer.
There was another time, this was more recently, the Walmart, not 10 miles from my house. There was someone running around in the parking lot swinging swords around. He had a couple of swords, apparently, and was drunk swinging them around at people. He might not have just been drunk. He might have also been on drugs.
That's about all I can muster.
Now, if he hadn't been drunk and he hadn't been on drugs, and it was just that he was in a Walmart parking lot swinging swords around, I might have mistaken him for myself. I have plenty of swords, and they appear in my videos, and I do tend to swing them around on occasion. Not at people, but, you know. Florida's reputation is very, very, very well earned. In basically every part of it. The alligators, the meth heads, the literal zombies. Literal's a stretch, but close enough. The people who get high on bath salts and eat people's faces. That literally happened in Florida 10, 11 years ago. So yeah. No, it wasn't. It was like 2011, 2012, so 8 or 9 years ago. Yeah, Florida's a very strange and disturbing place. If there is a body of water in Florida, there's a very good chance there's an alligator in it. But yeah, so that's always fun. Alright. So I think I'm going to stop the dancing. Thanks to Mary Beth.
Okay.
I think I'm going to call it for the night.
Chapter.
That was a good note to end it on. Florida man being an absolute psycho. I'll save my penis story for another time, and I will also wrap up our party here. So otherwise, thanks for coming in. Thanks for joining for the evening. Look forward over this weekend to probably the first of my philosophy reading group videos. I'm going to be beginning to read from Duns Scotus's commentary on Aristotle's Metaphysics, where he talks a lot about will and free choice, all of that stuff. Weiss, it was great to have you. You've got an expertise on this kind of stuff, on stuff really related to the game that I had no idea about. So it was fantastic having you here. So thanks for coming. Thank you so much for coming by, and hope everybody has a good evening. Have a good night. See you next time. Bye-bye.